You've mentioned post-election violence, and that's an elephant in the room that comes to play, especially when the name Martha Karua is called on. One of the reasons why I love you is that I can ask you tough questions. Because you're honest. The way that you answer your questions is so vulnerable, honest, real. And people get to then hear the other side of the perspective. Because a coin has two sides, heads and tails. If all you're ever shown is heads, you form that opinion that this person is just a head. But the reason why I'm asking this question is because of reputation. When I did your CTA, and I was doing research about the conversation, 2007 I was shocked about how your name and 2007 come together. There is a negative reputation because of you being loyal to a fault with Kibaki and doing your job. So, but my question is more so about reputation. Did that sting you? Did that stain you? If people, every time they see you, they just say, that's a 2007 situation.
I think one thing, first I said, you owe it to yourself. Did I do anything wrong? Certainly not. Therefore, I don't carry that burden. But somebody tries to paste it on my skirt every time they see me walking. But maybe because I ignored that social media space where your reputation is being smeared behind your back. What they will not tell you to your face, they will plant elsewhere, and it will be attached to your name. I'm now dealing with it head on. You see? You tell me about 2007, I ask you, do you mean the murders that took Ruto to The Hague? Do you mean the murders that were committed in the Rift Valley, in Kisumu, in Nairobi? It can't be that it's a mistake that I did not appear in any one of those courts. You see? It is because somebody or some people somewhere sat and weaved a narrative, literally wiping off their blood-stained hands off my skirt. Because what do those murders have to do with me? Other than someone saying, Martha sparked off the violence because of supporting Kibaki. So how did I support Kibaki? By being his agent? Kibaki wasn't supposed to have agents. I was defending not just his vote, but my vote. I voted for him. So that was my vote I was standing up to. Just like Orengo stood up for
In case
Raila.
Somebody doesn't know the story, could you narrate what happened in terms of you going to KICC?
I was a candidate, remember? I'm being elected in Gishugu. So I stay in Gishugu on the 28th. We elect on 27th. We sleep in the counting hall. We know I have won, but the presiding officer refuses to do the tally and to announce me. We come to 28th. We spend the whole day. Around 4, he agrees to tally, and I'm declared winner, and I'm given my certificate. And he does the same for my MCAs, councillors, that time. So I return home to sleep because I have 2 days sleep. I didn't sleep on 27th. I didn't sleep on the whole of 28th. We have spent at the polling station. I have 36 hours of sleep. So I go home, I sleep. 29th, I come to Nairobi. And I come to State House, and I'm requested to go to KICC. By the way, they were calling me when I was in Kirinyaga, and I told them, even if the whole of Nairobi banned, I will not come without my certificate. Because you leave, and it can be written for somebody else. And you can't reverse that without a court process. So I was going to stay put until I'm done. So I come, find people seated at State House watching the screen, and I ask them, are you waiting to be flushed out of here? Why is there nobody for Kibaki at KICC? I see the president, and I leave for KICC. And by the way, I left with Uhuru and Kimunya. When we reached Intercon, they said they had a meeting and that they'll find me at KICC. So they go. I go to KICC where I find only George Nyamwea, who was one of the senior officials of PNU, nobody else. So I stayed there, asked Kibake's agent, what are we doing? We are not counting any ballots. We are just hearing announcements by the Electoral Commission. And I find they are pushing that Raila should be declared winner. Why? Because he is leading with 1 million votes. But the whole votes of Mount Kenya have not been counted, and many other places in the country. But Mount Kenya alone has about 2 million votes. He's leading with only 1 million. You only count before finishing if the remaining constituencies cannot make a difference, even if they are awarded to the other party.
Kamala.
So there was, yeah, that's what they were saying. It happened to Kibake in 2002, and it is true. In 2002, Kibake was announced winner when a few constituencies were remaining. But he had an assailable lead over Uhuru. And even if all those counties were counted 100% for Uhuru, it would not have made a difference. So I make this argument and tell them you cannot. And Kivuito agrees with us. And as we go on, they're asking for recount of a few constituencies. I say no. A retally, not recount. I say no, we are not doing partial. Let's do a retally of 210 constituencies. I'm not refusing, I'm agreeing with them. But let's go the whole hog. That's what made us sleep at KICC, because we retallied the entire 210 constituencies. And by the way, that's where we discovered that Chepalungu of Isaac Ruto then, they had entered 377,000 votes for Raila. That was higher than the entire population of Chepalungu. They said it was a typographical error, and they now post 37,000 votes. So you have just added 3 in front. So that retally was crucial. By the next day, now 30th, Kivuito is insisting they must get all the constituencies. We wait. And all the papers come. And that's how they announced Kibake winner. Although there was disruption in the hall, tallying hall, where we had all to be evacuated because it was feared some people had grenades. So Kivuito refused to announce there. He actually announced to the press on KBC at 4 on that day, around 4, and then brought the certificate to
State House.
State House. So that was my role. My other role is telling ODM, if you're unhappy with the results, go to court. I've done it. I've done it in 2017, 2018. I did it in 2022. I didn't get the results I wanted in court. But nevertheless, it's the route you go. You don't tell you are supposed to pick machetes and go on the other. So what's so sinful about telling people to go to court? That is the total. But you hear people saying that what you did in 2007. So these days we ask them on Twitter, spell it out. What did I do? Because when you insinuate someone who doesn't know, you think, you see? And then I bring in the names that were involved. I didn't go to The Hague. If you have information, give it to The Hague. Even now, I would be happy to go there to clear my name. So when you bring on the discussion now boldly, it fizzles. But when it's left ignored and unattended, it goes on. Yeah.
Boldness sounds like a theme recurring throughout your whole story, and definitely even the story of going against the tides. At 10:15, I'm going to do a hard stop so that we can go and have a slight break, have some tea, and come back, and then I hand over the mic to the people, to the rest of you in the room. You're the ones who are going to be asking the questions for the next session. But I just got 2 more questions. One of them, I blurted out Kamala in this one, and this question sort of just came to mind. And change is constant. Change is constant. It's the one thing that we know is constantly going to happen. I'm in the digital realm, so I have seen it go from no phone, mobile phone, all the way until VR. By the way, we're shooting this in VR, immersive, 360, where you're going to be able to put on a VR headset and be seated where this camera right here is. That's where we're headed to. So in my world, I understand change is constant. But in this leadership world, and I'm not just talking about political leadership, we think that we're going to sit on the seat forever. Why is it that we can't embrace change? And if we then embrace change, we then begin actually passing on leadership to the next generation and giving them a leg up while the time is there. But situations with leaders, it's that it is forceful removement in 99%. Have it be in, rarely do we hear times like where you stepped down. So what's it about change and leadership? And to the leaders in this room, what could you say to them about that?